To all of the young Goombas watching this video, whom will or may call me a pedophile for making this,
tells me that everyone that left that a positive review needs to be investigated ASAP.
I would just like you to take into consideration that I am underage. So, moving on, now with that carved into the stone, I would like to point out some people who I think have completely lied about this movie for their own personal gain and personal image online. Moist Critical, you lied about Cuties. Anna Mari, you lied about Cuties. D'Angelo Wallace, you are a fool about Cuties. And all of you little crackers believe them. And this is what they had to say. 1. Showing child sexualization is not how you show that child sexualization is bad. Point 2. This movie is literally child porn. Point 3. Anyone opposing the sexualization of minors in this movie appears to be the bad guy or the villain. Point 4. The message of child sexualization being wrong and all the themes of the movie are too poorly conveyed. And number 5. The scenes in this movie are purely for those of Dan Schneider's appetite. So now, with all of those points out of the way, of course people have more, but these are the main few. I would like to attack every single point listed because every single one of them was completely and utterly wrong. But leave it up to people who only watch 30 minutes of a whole movie to do that for you.
Because I only got through about 30 minutes before I turned it off.
Concerning the first point, if we truly run this idea down to its core, child actors shouldn't even exist in the first place. If you believe that, alright, that's fine. Personally, I think child actors are a good thing, and I think that they're necessary. The reason children cannot engage in sexual actions is because children do not have the mental ability to understand the ramifications and consequences of actions. Some actions take place in Cuties. And this applies to many aspects of a child's life. We do not allow them to eat every single piece of candy in the pantry, or never do their homework, or never brush their teeth, etc. because they don't understand the consequences that come from making those choices. So what we do is we give the power to the parent to make the decisions for them. Now, the child actors in Cuties had permission from their parents to play the roles in the movie, and they also had a trained psychologist on the team the whole way through production to check in on them. So, if that isn't enough, then we should just remove all child actors, because no kid is going to know the effects of being famous or even purely having your face appear in a huge film or show. And you can make the argument that no parent truly knows the effects of being famous or anything like that. So if that's the case, we should just remove them altogether. Moving on to the second point about this movie being just literal child porn is completely a lie. Alright, there are maybe 5 scenes in the whole movie that could be considered anything close to that. And some of these scenes only last for a couple seconds. And the quote-unquote child porn being 12-year-olds in a crop top and shorts twerking. Now, if you're saying there shouldn't be any scenes at all in the movie, 5 is too many, hell, 1 is too much, then what I have to tell you is that you have to break some eggs to make an omelet. I say showing a few underage girls dancing fully clothed to to show the world how horrible social media can corrode a child's mind to do terrible things, or showing how controlling and degrading certain actions can be while you don't truly understand their consequences, I think is worth it. And if this movie is child porn, let's just say for a second that this is a child porn. It is the worst child porn anyone could ever waste their time watching. Certainly any pedophile. If I was a pedophile, I wouldn't waste my time watching a 1 hour and 30-minute movie to watch for 10 minutes what I can see on TikTok for free for hours. Okay? But you don't see any of these creators talking about how TikTok makes young women feel as if they need to sell their sexuality to be liked by other people. You don't see that anywhere. I don't see that shit. They had to have a movie that supposedly shows child porn to do it for them. The fact of the matter is that Cuties is a watered down version of TikTok. The shit that you can see on there is more sexual, more revealing, and has even younger demographics. And is actually real. By the way, it isn't a movie. That shit's real. So you know what? If you hate this movie so much, you need to fucking turn your attention to TikTok, okay? Because Cuties is just a watered down version of TikTok. End of story. Thirdly, the people opposing the main character, being Amy, are not shown as evil or villains or controlling dictators. The dancers that she joins aren't shown as heroes who saved her from this tyrannical traditional lifestyle. The dancers, the quote-unquote friends that she makes, are horrible people. They're two-faced, they bully people, they physically hurt others, they steal shit. The only good character in this movie is Amy and Amy's mother, and maybe a couple other side people here and there. There is a friction from when the movie starts to the climax of two different sides of Amy's life. One part being her religious, traditional, cultural side, and the other part being the rebellious modern age. And something that surprised me was tradition wasn't shown to be evil and stupid, like it is in literally every other single piece of media that you see. There is a scene where Amy is being seen by some sort of religious figure to see if she is possessed. And what I expected, and what everyone would have liked for you to believe, is that the priest sits down, touches her forehead, and pronounces that there is a evil demon controlling her and making her do all of these horrible things. But what actually happens is, he gets up and tells the mother that there is no evil spirit, that there is no demon controlling her daughter, and that he understands the burden that the family holds, and that he does not need their money, and leaves. It is actually the exact opposite. The kids are made to be shown as evil villains. They're not shown to know it all. This isn't one of those movies where the kids are sticking it to the fucking stupid adults who don't understand life and are too caught up in the olden days. These children are mean and they're spiteful, and they don't even know what they're doing to themselves. In the first scene, we see one of the dancers, Angelica. She's straightening her hair with an iron. And when Amy tries to recreate it, she burns part of her hair off. Amy is even bullied and physically hurt by them. You're not going to watch this movie and come out thinking that the dancers were the good guys and that these tyrannical, horrible, traditional people were just cramping on Amy's fun. And this shit all happens in the first 30 minutes, so all fucking Moist Critical doesn't have any fucking excuse. Okay, you see this shit happens in the first 10 minutes. For the fourth point, we're going to have to go over some scenes in the movie that I think counter this idea that the themes were too poorly conveyed. So just stick with me for a second. The movie starts out with Amy attending a woman's religious group where she is obviously uncomfortable. From this point on, she has not been doing anything sexual or degrading. She's just a normal kid. And this sexual degrading shit doesn't even start when she begins hanging out with the dancers that she views as cooler than her. When all the sexual and degrading shit that she does begins is when she gets a hold of her cousin's phone, which is pretty symbolic from an artistic point of view.
There's nothing artistic about it.
We see her at different points in the movie on her phone watching these sexualized music videos, these ladies twerking and wearing revealing clothing. She also gets on what is basically Instagram and sees women doing the same thing and being praised and liked for it. She sees women using their sexuality to get what they want.
Get a new one. Look. They have a lot of likes.
And after this, she begins practicing the dance routine that she filmed for the dancers, even copying the moves that she saw in the music videos on her phone. Another important thing to note is that when she gets her phone, she takes a normal selfie of herself. And when she goes to post it onto Instagram, she sees that she does not look nearly as pretty and happy as all of these other girls. So, what she instantly decides to do is go and Photoshop herself to look better. And right after she Photoshops herself and posts the Photoshopped images, she gets a knock on her closet door. And inside of the closet is her dress that she's meant to wear for her father's wedding of his second wife, symbolizing the conflict in her mind between this new modern age and the old cultural traditions that she's meant to follow. Now, if this isn't well enough conveyed for you, don't worry, I have more. Throughout the movie, the different sides of her life try to shove her into what they view as womanhood. Her grandmother gets her up early in the morning and decides that she needs to make a whole feast for a wedding by herself to become a woman.
Today I will teach you how to become a woman. We will start by preparing the food for your father's wedding.
Already?
It will take more than one day to prepare.
Her friends push her to become a woman by pretending to be a different age and replicating what they see adult women doing online. On both of these occasions where Amy is being pushed into womanhood, she resists their attempts. And in the climax of the movie, Amy is performing their final dance in front of the judges. But she is suddenly reminded of her home and her traditions and her family, and she runs away. She changes her mind on using her sexuality to receive affection and praise from others. And she decides to go back home and abandon this lifestyle that she has been dabbling in. And when she gets home, she is confronted by her grandmother and is shamed for what she is wearing and why she was out and not at home helping with her father's wedding. And her mother chimes in and tells her grandmother to leave her alone as she pulls Amy in a room with just the two of them. There, Amy's mom tells her that it is okay. She doesn't have to come to the wedding and that she can make her own choice. And so, what Amy decides to do is she changes out of her dance outfit and places it next to her dress. She changes into normal clothes, goes downstairs, and decides to play jump rope with all of the other kids. This movie is basically about growing up, and it's an actual real depiction of what it's like to grow up nowadays. This isn't a bunch of fucking stupid fucking unlikable dipshit kids who go on an adventure where they learn to love all their friends and nothing bad ever happens to them. The characters in Cuties actually go through real difficult problems. The chubby dancer, Yasmin, is shown in a scene making herself throw up in a stall. The mother is having a hard time with the burdens of the traditions that society has placed on her, with her husband marrying a second wife.
Kan nañu am mariage amour loolu kay laa leen di ñaanal amiin amiin.
oo yar keneen ki
déedéet duma ko mën.
yaa ko war a def sa liggéey la loolu laa bëgg nga nekk jigéen ju baax bul may nit ñi lu ñuy wax.
Amy is trying to figure out what the hell she wants to be in life. And all of Amy's actions have real consequences. When she consumes media, we can see it twist her perception of the whole world. We see her literally view things differently from how she had been viewing them before. We see the effects of it all really come together in a scene that got a lot of fucking flack, where she quote unquote strips for her cousin because she needs her phone back so badly. And by stripping, she just takes off her fucking jacket, by the way. The whole movie, she is shamed and bullied for acting like a child, which is what she is. And so, because she has been brainwashed, basically, into thinking that being a woman is showing your sexuality and being promiscuous, she decides that the ultimate way to show that she is a woman is to post a nude picture of herself online. This was one of the biggest things that everyone fucking lost their minds about. And you probably just felt really uncomfortable for me just even saying something like that. And I understand, because I felt uncomfortable too when I saw that shit. But the fact is that if you're actually going to be mad, or at least act like you care about this whole child sexualization shit, you need to come to the terms of the fact that, first of all, you don't see anything. Second of all, it only lasts 10 seconds. And third of all, this is completely real. As someone who was close to their age not too long ago, I can tell you that nowadays, kids from 13 to 17 are sending nudes. 100%. I'm not just making this up for the video. Cuties was fucking out of everyone's head a long fucking time ago, alright? I'm not making this to fucking blow up. Or I'm saying this because I actually believe it. But none of you know this. When I was 13, I sent nudes of myself. When I was 13, I was sent nudes by other people. When I was 13, I knew who people who were younger than me who had sent nudes to people. Okay? This is an actual real problem in the world. But none of you know that. Because everyone is too uncomfortable to actually say it. Everyone's mind, and especially all of these fucking creators out there, you never see any of them talking about this shit. Because they actually don't care. Everyone can rally together and cheer about how much they want to kill pedophiles. But the fact is that no one gives a shit about this. Everyone's mind is so fucked up in trying to quote unquote protect children that you don't realize what you're actually doing is hurting them. Moving on to the fifth point, and I'm surprised that this even came up as much as it did. There's a point in the movie where the grandmother tries to do an exorcism to fix Amy's behavior. Was Critical had a real fucking problem with the scene, you know, which is a funny thing for not even seeing it himself. So I'm just gonna tell you what actually happened in this movie, because these people won't. Everyone would like to make it seem like it is a Dan Schneider's wet dream, seeing a girl just with her shirt completely drenched. You can see right through. You can see her bra and her titties. Oh my god, it's like a schoolgirl running home through the rain. But the fact is that the t-shirt isn't even light enough to see through. If
وألحق أرواح العلي بنفوسها وأعطاك من نور السناء ضياء.
it went through a fucking tsunami, okay? Not to mention, they were only sprinkling water on her. Her face was like the only thing that was wet. Her shirt barely had water droplets on it. I don't know how you can just so blatantly lie about a scene that we can all go watch for free. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So in conclusion, if you think that this movie shouldn't have been made, or they should have used adult actors to play the children roles, if you think a 26-year-old could easily fit into the role of a 10-year-old, I can understand that. I can understand that. D'Angelo Wallace made the comparison to a movie called Precious.
There's plenty of ways to show that something is terrible without having people recreate that thing on camera in real life. You could film it like the movie Precious, which has a scene where we see that an adult is mistreating a child, but somehow they managed to film the entire scene without ever putting a single child in an adult position. It's still one of the most heartbreaking and impactful scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I guess that's just a perk of when the directors have actual talent. You could also hire adult actors to play the children. Gabourey Sidibe was 26 when she was playing 16-year-old Precious, and at no point when you're watching the movie do you think, oh, this isn't real, so I don't care about these issues that are being presented to me, because this is not a real child.
A movie none of you nor I ever heard about, but a movie that D'Angelo Wallace has seen. And a 26-year-old woman plays the role of a 16-year-old girl in the movie. And you know what? I can see it. I can see the 16-year-old girl just fine. So, what the fuck is Precious? If this is the movie that did it all right, that showed what means to be sexually misfortunate. To be sexually misfortunate as a child. And D'Angelo Wallace really believes it. Where's D'Angelo Wallace's video on Precious? If this was the movie that just blew Cuties out of the park, where's the video? Where are any of the videos talking about it? Why do I only see Cuties? Why isn't Cuties really trying to do what Precious did? What the fuck is Precious? D'Angelo Wallace doesn't actually believe that shit. And he doesn't actually care. The fact is that you had a 26-year-old, or let's say an 18-year-old, play a 10-year-old, this movie would have stayed an indie French film that none of us fucks would have ever heard about. And no one would have known about. And no one would now be looking at all of these fucked up dance schools where, and this is real, actual 6 and 7-year-olds dance even more inappropriately to even more inappropriate songs with even more inappropriate dress. And some of these videos have 50 million views where they're fucking flashing their pussy, dancing around like fucking Marilyn Monroe. But 50 million views. Everyone still watches Dance Moms, right? That fucked up show. So I guess the truth is, I guess Cuties didn't change anything. I guess it was just doomed from the start because people just can't look at what something actually is, or are just controlled about their feelings in society and being too uncomfortable. None of the scenes would have hit nearly as hard if they were done by adults. If you've seen the movie City of God, you would know that that movie would not be what it is today if they did not use child actors to show how fucked up that life is.
Bora, moleque, escolhe. Diz aí. Bora, amigo. No pé ou na mão? Na mãozinha, né? Valeu, pequeno, valeu. É isso aí.
And I know it makes you uncomfortable. I felt fucking uncomfortable watching it too. Okay, I had to watch it fucking 3 times. Actually, only twice. It's not that long of a movie. But if you guys want to kill pedophiles so badly, if you guys want to, man, I just want to protect these kids, man. Why are you all rioting against the movie, a fictional movie, Cuties, and not the actual real state of affairs of the dance world, TikTok, and fucking dance shows today? The shit you see there is far, far worse than any of the shit you're gonna see in Cuties, okay? And you can't even, you can barely fucking compare them. Cuties is not even in line with that shit. These people do nothing to teach kids about the consequences because they're too uncomfortable to. Kids don't even tell their children about the birds and the bees or condoms. Some girls, even in the United States, don't even get told about having a period until that shit happens. I'm a dude and that shit sounds fucking terrifying. If I was in gym class and my dick started spurting blood, I would freak the fuck out. But people, parents, shit parents, just don't have these conversations because they're too uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to talk to your kid about sending nudes to other people. A lot of parents wouldn't even like to entertain the thought that their child would even do such a thing. But the fact is, they are. And so if you're not going to teach them the consequences, Kids are just gonna have to find out the consequences on their own. Cuties knows this, I didn't have to fucking tell you. One of my favorite lines from the movie is right when one of the dancers blows up a condom into a balloon, all the other kids freak out and say, what the fuck? Put that down. That is like so fucking disgusting. You're gonna get AIDS. AIDS people use that. You're gonna fucking die. The girl responds, but nobody ever told me what it was. So how was it my fault that I didn't know that it was bad? And that pretty much sums up all this fucking parenting bullshit, alright? Not only that, if we shouldn't even be able to watch this movie, if they should get taken down from everything, how can we critique something that we can't even see? How do you truly know how horrible something is if you can't see the effects and the causes? But you know, I'm just a kid. I hope I made my point clear. And I hope you Goombas have a nice day.
Aman kay la Diyos